This fight's a little bit too hard, I think, actually. You don't go and you take a good matchup against this 80% of the time. It's not my fault. What's up, new multi-stream people? How many viewers do I have now? It's a little bit broken, as I keep saying. It says nobody here. Sometimes it shows up here, but if you click on it, we realize that there is somebody watching. It used to work, somebody broke it. I shouldn't be able to spawn more than 3 either. But we have energy, right? I picked a lot of curses so far, right? I'm sorry there's not any curses yet. Shit, I don't remember. I'm sorry, that was kinda dumb. You can do it again, right? Pick every curse. But I think I'm only gonna play 2 games to the Spire today. Yeah, I'm pretty tired, man. I don't feel like I want to play the rest of this one either. I thought it was really fun, but it's hard to explain. You're talking to a Twitch streamer, celebrity, whatever, and you're still supposed to mention farting, and you're like, wow, I never thought being a horse would teach me so much about farting. Bulk up and capacitator? Fuck yeah. That's a good upgrade. Back, 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 back. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm sorry, you should not have the energy to play more than 2 rounds. I just clicked on the choice, and I'm trying to remember what did I click on? What's happening? You know, ask my brain. What did I click? And it's like, good question. Though I'm not stupid. It's just some temporary thing. It would be nice to have fucking pizza right now, you know. Sorry, did I seem to upset chat by speaking about stuff after saying I am only gonna play 2K games? Or someone's gonna throw a cucumber into their head. Just like breaking through space and time and physics. You're like, ah! 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 What did I play the fun there? Actually, I should have picked, yeah. That Björn kind of sucked. I don't have my plasma sus anymore. Damn it! It's so painful, man. I can't finish this run. I'm so exhausted. Maybe I didn't sleep so much, huh? I just want to play Smite today. I want to play Hearthstone today. I want to play Runescape today. You tell me, would you be interested in me playing Runescape and me showing off my book? I want the pizza, man.
Jens had started eating a can of...
They're in Dragon's Nest right now. Dangerous rooms, treasure with a dragon in the center.
Jens had started eating a can of baked beans. What else do you have except baked beans? Said Daisy. Chili baked beans and some raisins, plums. Suddenly Daisy came to a profound insight. It looked mathematical. Jens said, "Eat all your baked beans," said James with lots of energy, conceiving plans. I can fart incredibly independently of baked beans after a life like this. It's enough that I think about it. It might be hard to understand, said Yensid unnecessarily. Can you make a hole into the roof? These walls were designed not to smash through, he said kindly, but true. There are bombable bonus rooms based on signs and language mastery. Most of our spells don't budget. What about an ass laser? Helped Yensid shaped like an upside-down L. The bird noises commenced channeling God RA, and then a bright, white laser followed. Yensid screamed with power, and the laser drained him, but his ass was strong. James' vision were deteriorated for 3 minutes, but he held tight on Yensid, who knew how many layers were pierced into the roof. Now some hurricane magic. Please, people. I'm as magical as a lesser steroid unicorn, said Lao S, and thus James was going through 25 stories up and up. Some rooms were larger than others. James saw glimpses of monsters and monsters of him. James thought about the Dicks Out for Harambe song and thought insanely or brilliantly about flashing his personal organs to the monsters flying by. Swish and flick, an unforgettable sight. He entered smoothly on the roof. This part of the roof was dark, eerie, and enclosed with sharp fences of brightest moonlight, and moonlight lit the roof. Still, it was 200 by 200 meters, maybe. The fences ended into a smaller castle shaped, like a graphics card, unbelievably expensive. There were fountain statues of men raising a skull into the air, looking like theater people. The fountains spewed water for a meter towards each other. The ground glowed into a wave of starlight wherever he stepped. This seemed like holy or unholy ground. He didn't see them at first, but apparitions were closing in on him slowly, some very close. They looked like banshees with dead masks, floating above the ground slowly and with black, tattered robes. They disappeared from view and could be seen again 3 seconds later, like there was a flickering lamplight. One was too close for comfort. It had drawn long, broad blades, now silently ready to kill. James zigzagged between apparitions towards the castle until something eerie told him to look back. A piercing will, a fire-red, colored banshee looking. A reaper looking wide-tattered and torn came floating towards him with a reaper scythe. Its hood was empty and harrowing, floating 1 meter above ground with no legs nor robes covering them. This infernal presence froze James strangely in place for 5 seconds. He tried desperately to move, but couldn't do it like in a fever dream. His instincts were on fire. He couldn't fight this.
First, it's 5 minutes of this, as long as it's interesting. Very good EXP. Like the 3k XP per hour times 12 right now.
His instincts were on fire. He couldn't fight this. It was like looking down a red abyss into deepest hell. He ran towards the castle intently. Coming up towards the door, he smashed the lock and went in,
instead, I think.
shutting hopefully. There was a spiral staircase and a door. He decided upwards. Most banshees wouldn't go into the castle, and those that shifted and didn't go up the stairs. And the spirit from Ultra Hell, another plane, could not be defeated. A single orc assaulted him, coming up into a corridor. James was barely fast enough to avoid the primitive axe. He was brown with brown armor and a small shield. He trashed the orc through the wall and out the castle mercilessly. Time was relative as the orc contemplated falling. He met a meek, long and tall orc with glasses thus. "What are you doing so far up here?" said the orc, hostile and concerned. "How did you fight the 300 werewolves?" "I didn't. There's the treasure in it." He trashed him out the wall. The castle had less dangerous rooms and more far between, like a bonus area or an unfinished expansion. He met more black goblins, but they seemed to tolerate his presence. They were analyzing in stuffy evil and considered him not threatening but fluid. He came across an agility room. He dodged scythes and saw blades from the wall, pulled in his stomach between blades, did acrobatics. There was a huge water where he had to run upwards. It required all of his speed and more than he thought. Running like a muscle boss, he only advanced so quickly until he was at the diagonal top and exit. He found a chest. It opened into a platinum diamond silver key. "You have found the key that unlocks every chest in the castle," said the wizard voice, like telling a story, with an exception of allowance. It will only get better from here, James thought. Not far away, in a few rooms, James unlocked a seriously burly chest and found the Staff of the Sun, looking like bird-inspired, like a totem and like a whack of gold. He remembered from Oswald thus, to merge the Sun Staff and the Dawn Staff would turn into something as valuable as something from the dragon's treasure room. In a final room, there was a giant minotaur for horns with a crown, dark fiery eyes with a giant two-handed sword, broad and jagged. Behind him was an opulent door of gold and finesse that could only be the treasure room of this instance. Well done getting past the werewolf's cur. This is the final challenge of this place. But not the dragon, Mr. Bull. Nay, wait. Is there to be someone else here? Are you just on reserve duty? I want to fight Kerr, no more talking. The Minotaur blew fire from his nostrils and went for a double spin with the sword and then a quick overhead. The Minotaur assaulted right, overhead, left, right, overhead, left, right, leaving no time for retaliation. James dodged an overhead and uppercut the Minotaur into the air. The sword got stuck in the ground for a second, and James smashed it into 3 pieces with impact grip. The half-sword was good enough for the Minotaur. They swung sword for sword, clashing like titans and ever-measuring strength. They clashed a final time, swords and fists. Their strength was even, though James was smaller. The Minotaur headbutted with his horn like it was his third arm. James got hit, and it made him angry. With impact magic, he headbutt back, knocking the Minotaur into the floor, flipping down and hitting his head first. Another fiery swing from James destroyed the remainder of his sword and lit his bull hands on fire. "Consider I have semester tomorrow," the Minotaur said in a deep voice. "I don't even want to work for this guy. All this stuff about evil, decay, and sickness cord. In semester you'll find you are beat." James grabbed him by the horns, and with the power of elf steroids. Steroid meteor. Jumped and knocked him out with the ground. He punched the door beyond, it wouldn't budge. It seemed to need a key into a giant golden hole that was probably here in the castle. He used fire magic to melt the lock mechanism. It seemed to resist him, but after 2 minutes of expert fire skills, the door was hinging mildly. There was a gold view of treasure, swords of gold and silver and bronze, magical weapons, giant diamonds, and 3 onyxes, bars of mithril and adamant, restoration potions, and restorative magical ale for ailments. He recognized a mimic in the middle of the room. He would not screw around with it. He carried the most valuable stuff he thought in his giant backpack, which was as large as him now. It was different, but he would get used to the weight as usual. He drank some magically balanced Odin's Raven's beer, making him feel grand. Also, by the very light taste, almost like cider. Beer really tastes something special if you wait a long time in between. A long time for James was 2 days. He went past the Minotaur and the staircase, out to the courtyard onto the castle. The apparitions were fewer, and the Red Reaper was missing. They seemed sluggish as he went to his hole down
Let's
and
train
balanced
some
the sack on his
agility!
head.
Yay!
Down he went like a missile. His muscular legs crunched the ground, making cracks eventually in a wide stance. The air was easier to breathe here.
Is that a
at an
vacuum
easier
cleaner
level.
for the fish?
Looks like the party had painted magical arrows for only him to see where they had gone. It was 3 rooms. For the 3rd time, he went to find his party. "Christ almighty," said Laos. They were in another ranged-only skeleton room, hitting the targets and dodging javelins. "You're as greedy as my aunt," said Osgiliath. James told them a bit about his adventure. "Look, James, why don't you teleport with our loot so far to the London base? Then teleport back to Charnwood's." James got even more to carry. "Put a shroud like of invisibility around me," Jens said, "so no one bats an eye." James smashed a vial and was once again pulled through colors and space to London. He went to the tavern base, feeling funny. He felt there would be disagreements later, so he told no one about and hid the diamonds. He took 3 minutes just resting his buttocks on a chair and boots on a table. Not thinking much and enjoying resting was all he needed. Oh, look, another contemporary beer. He didn't realize he came into a frequency of peace, healing, and wisdom he's been looking for. And when he was back
Aloe
in the
vera,
castle,
strawberry.
teleporting, he was indeed sharper.
Contains 51% aloe vera.
His magical ability had increased his healing. James liked experimenting with aerobic brain-derived neurotropic factor training.
So
keeping his
that
heart rate
sugar
as
is
high as
actually
possible,
aloe vera
because the
sugar
more
then.
blood his brain got as he was exercising aerobically, the
The
smarter he
leaves is
got.
not healthy from aloe vera, it's the
James had gotten several
liquid.
IQ points smarter by being able to figure out how to get smarter. Dreamy. There was also a mushroom that looked like a lion's mane, curcumin and piperine, and more brain blood through ginkgo tree leaves. These still grew, some like weeds, some common and homely, some frequent in another country.
It's pretty good. So we had drunk at every bar Runescape. Means we can uh, means that we can access this place here. There's some chickens here. Uh, you get like this card, bar crawl, right? And they all have to write their signature. Then you get to the gate. It's like I can't read, but it looks like you're drunk enough, so you can come in.
These still grew, some like weeds, some
Something
common
about
and homely,
him
some
being
frequent in
unable
another
to.
country.
Yeah.
That's it. He would teleport to these countries with the prize money and buy locally or pick. Maybe this is the time to start learning teleportation. He also suspected plants that increased learning speed also made you smarter permanently, like Spanish sage, Sikianda, 3 types of ginseng, rosenroot, and ashwagandha. That which you eat daily makes you smarter, like it's permanent as well, like Indian long pepper. He wasn't interested, he was intellectually eccentric. Food tore through his burning anvil of a brain as he remembered the way through the castle. James. Jams, said Oswald, mimicking the British. We could ask you to teleport out again. They were in a fiery coal, purple and teal crystal and magma room. This heavy shrine won't open unless we're outside the castle. Could be troll gold. I can just carry it in my backpack, said James, or I can teleport just to Chardwoods and open it there. James, in his resource-saving mode, permanent solutions over temporary, which he usually was. It isn't that far back here, really, and we save a London teleport. Oswald put his palm close to the shrine, closed his eyes, and said psychically, troll gold. James, who wasn't a bad psychic or spiritualist, also put his palm forth and felt deceit. Falsehood, smelly, and trolls over gold, like foot fungus over steak. James had sides of spirituality, calm, wisdom, and peace, but they were introverted and not often seen. The mathematical introvert, scientific planning and analysis side isn't seen in the ENTP, just like the unique, magical moral world of inner feeling or any introvert side is. Many personalities think others. Opposites aren't necessary and make no sense, can be ignored or superfluous, like sulfur plus phosphorus. But balancing out your opposite cognitive function gives you wisdom and peace, like being a meditator. Like engaging in all 5 senses and the now, digging hands in dirt for the thinker. Teleport out. James opened the shrine easily after being outside in insipid fog or hallucinating darkness. Part of the evil, just like the inside. The huge shrine revealed troll gold, made out of blood bark and clay. Smelled like bad meat or good cheese, but also 1 diamond bracelet glimmering and 2 diamond rings that had 4 gold bridges leading to the diamond. Maybe we should use some of these for where he thought richly and practiced his rich man's laughter, H-H-H-A-O-H. It was troll gold. A-C-H-H-We. Except the diamonds, James protruded.
Got a snort there.
Diamonds makes everyone react the same way.
Wait!
Yensid, could you teach me how to magically find rare mental boosting herbs and roots? Have you turned to natural medicine, lad? That's expensive. If you promise to pick Spanish sage for me, I'll teach you Rouge's inner sight. It will highlight your roots. Yensid and James did highlighting magic to each other over and over while the party was chatting. Just coal in this room now. Let's move on.
Writing some down in your book is
4.
not streaming the wrong category.
There's only a fountain to restore health. 20% less when used on the same people in statues like goblin dragons with their tongues out. We could stock max health and not heal outside fountains. Great idea, James, said Oswald in analytic time. They came into smoke with a faint, glowing lava door. They wandered through darkness for minutes until they were scared to be attacked from any angle. Everyone, blast the door with your water/ice magic. The door roared and steamed. They stood for 30 seconds until it was black. SSSH, it is a cozy lair and respite for real black dragons. They're one of the strongest and immune to magic. They will always try to breathe fire on 2 people, said Oswald. How did I survive this last time, said Laos. James looked through a crevice at these magnificent, gleaming beasts. It was a huge caves with some man-made features the dragons like laying on. There were baby black dragons with cute features like nose and eyes like most mammals. Maybe this is the Spit a Rune Potion room. Maybe there's a worse fight we need to escape from. I'm not fighting this. They smashed the vial at their feet and ran invisible until the end. The walls were boiling lava and spouting madness. They enter into black rock and sometimes entire grey room like it laid coolly upon the cobble. They came into a corridor that reacted to his moon key. Every wall from now in the castle might hold a moon casket. Use this headbutt technique on every wall. The spirit locked in non-spirit and smashed thoroughly. James copied the technique and sounded different while looking the same. Must be a difference in force. James, it's going to be rare. They were in the 3rd next room after winding
That's some strong vinegar.
Darkness. It's supposed to be not for head diligence like this. James was starting to get dizzy. This was a hard wall. He kept going focused, sacrificing his head like a woodchucker. 3 times he went through a glowing wall and planks after the first headbutt. Did you use a headbutt to break this wall? Yes, wrote James. Revealed was a shimmering casket like dizzying. Only a really silly person would have used it on every wall. Here's your reward, said the necromancer voice fleetingly. The next room was an intelligence room. This is a deadly room, bane for warriors. All answers are close. Some answers give points that are close. Which mages are offering their cunning. Better get all answers correct. If you didn't figure it out yet, I have 145 IQ, said James. Do you really? Let me figure out the segments. Good luck. Is intelligence independent of tests, or does understanding the tests make you smarter? First question, said a mage voice similar to the necromancer. It is independent of tests until correct, said James. Good answer. You would have got points for the other answer too. 150 IQ answer is next. Look at these symbols. First, it is white rectangle background and 2 black smaller square. Turns into 3 black, then 4. Second row, white rectangle background, 3 black, smaller squares. Turns into gray background, 3 smaller squares, then 2. Final row, white rectangle background, 4 black smaller squares, turning into gray background, 4 smaller black squares. You have 3 choices here. 1/3 to be correct, said Daisy rather stupidly. Gray background, 2 smaller black squares. Gray background, 5 smaller black squares. White background, 5 smaller black squares. They are all incorrect, but gray background, 2 smaller black squares is the least incorrect. Correct, said the voice. Next we have stone skipping that accelerates. The mage skips stones 7 cm, 16-36-80. What is the accelerating and average distance? The acceleration is 2 to the power of 2 and average distance 34.75. Use the average to cut a relative log. It is 175 centimeters. You can cut it an additional time without being long enough. How many times is it cut? Visually, this cannot be shown. 34.75 times 5 plus 2x. It is correct. You are free to go. They came across a hamburger restaurant in the castle. It imitated a castle. Half castle, half hamburger theme. 1 blood money to feed your team hamburgers. I dare say that's worth it, said Gregor. Maybe the vegan is going to argue against all of us eating hamburgers. Halloumi hamburgers are as unhealthy as meat hamburgers. And I said I used to be vegan. I eat 80% vegan now. Or it's called being a terrible vegan. The place was served by a variety of castle inhabitants. Orcs, black elves, werewolves. You are a pussy if you haven't faced a werewolf yet, a werewolf said to Porpoise. He was ignoring the dishes. We are from the floors 2 and above. Floors upwards doesn't increase the difficulty. Porpoise held his fear unnoticed. Does it? 1 galactic cholesterol meal, please, and 3 Texas barbecue burgers, said Gregor. Do you have vegan Texas barbecue, said James. And vegan chili cheese. Holy shit, James was getting vegan tinglings.
Jag sa taskens väl för blir 50 laps när du lite chorus.
Yeah, I agree, said Porpoise, and I'm ordering for the Fat Warrior too. Give me 3 vegan Texas barbecue, said Australia. I bet you trash those goblins with a 2-handed mace, said the werewolf. Her steel inquiring mace told a story of its symmetrical beauty, like a church. Why do you charge so much for the sides? Because we make the money on those. No one just order hamburgers and fries anymore. If you're a bodybuilder and you want to order hamburgers and fries on your diet, just get the hamburger. Do you have anything to say about my fries? Said Clement as they sat down. Well, let me think. If it were a purple potato, it would have antioxidants, plenty of potassium, until it's too much. God damn it, let me enjoy my fries. I don't want to live long. People only say this when confronted by a vegan. I want to live short and well, not short and terrible.
We write another one there.
Health gives you quality and longevity. Lettuce is for rabbits, said Porpoise, trying to keep James' arguments going. We are built to eat enough plants, 100-150 g of fiber plants per day, 7 times more than we eat. It's not every day we cornered a mammoth. That's why we stopped making C vitamin like guinea pigs. Damn, these guinea pigs. Everyone eats what's normal. Some countries are healthier than others. Why do you have an argument for everything? Said Clement. There is a vegan argument for every argument. You hear the same things. You don't know enough about the game. James pointed a finger. I can't enjoy this hamburger if you keep talking about that. Surely you can enjoy that hamburger. It's the same meat as before. What's the strongest vegan argument then? Said Porpoise. Maybe that we think it's normal food. We can eat normal amounts, but it gives you heart disease, stroke, cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, and is the main reason we die, and 6 deficiencies. We don't succumb to age. We succumb to disease and through age. I will think about what I eat, said Porpoise. I will never change what I eat just because you said that. That's childlike. Honestly, said Daisy, the quality of this argument is getting lower. You must enjoy being healthy, motivate yourself with statistics, and feel not the taste always, but the benefits, like golden brilliance. I would follow the truth. I would at least be conscious of what I eat if I knew, said Gregor. The truth is very interesting. It's a hard life without health. You can get used to smoking and drinking and everything having resistance. With antidepressants and coffee, you can do anything, said Porpoise. They came across a cozy tea and coffee room, prioritizing tea. There was a bug man with long mustaches down, pointing with his hand cupped. It seemed pivotal that they chose a tea. Maybe he would attack them. Mysterious as our fear manipulate. I choose the really, really red chai, said James. Potato tea with lavender, said Porpoise. They came into an everything you could need lounge. Couches like Black Hills, Sugary Sweet Bakery, all terrible, thought James, health mindful. Why does everything related to fika is unhealthy? A cultural habit can always
Oh, it's
allow
delicious,
worse
but I want
decisions
something
included
more.
his mind
I really
and
do.
for another step, surprisingly, eventually.
Oh, too
Cozy
bad.
statues, castle lightning, different tables from different groups. There seemed to be their largest table occupied. A dead party sat with webs and spiders falling down the helmets. A knight raised his arm and mug and slammed like Moros. What's the point of all of these healing spells? I take damage and die in the next room anyway. A plump knight, except rectangular head, answered with healing ability and maybe other spells. Let's stay with the dark guests and insects ever interested in my body and siphoning my spell mind. I don't mind the assuming and gnawing. I feel capable. We can go on. They were all dead, bereft and hollow, yet conscious and intent. You guys are dead. I'm not dead or bottomless for tea. I'm not dead either. They were kind of alive with knight helmets over skulls. We must go into the next room, and we will as long as we can have some more tea first. Must have chosen the wrong tea. You guys are stone dead and bereft, damp. I implore you take a look. Listen to the logic of my argument, said James, considerate of bluntness. I see nothing. We can still go on. Evil breathes down my neck, said Porpoise, round and with brutish intent. They're never getting out of here, lethargic in post-human world, a forever mistake. Next was the depression room. It looked like a theater preparation room. There were masks they were supposed to look into, carnival and theater masks with long noses and a dagger underneath, but would go through a metal you could rest your head. This is the depression room, said the wizard voice. Hold on to your will to live. Look through the masks to pass. The party sat down throughout the booths like actors ready to put on their suicide last theater. One step closer to the edge, said wizard voice. James felt tired and his senses went to like dreaming. Spirals of depression touching as he went through. They made him feel gloomy, and as ever the confidence was leaving him, the dagger grew nearer. The spirals were filled with his horrible childhood and a cold-blooded family. They rejected him as shadow's cloth, like the reaper. Their eyes were white holes large as frying pans. You're not behaving good enough. Weak grades. Can't you do better? Why do you slouch? You have no friends. Not smart enough. But at not smart enough, he realized they were wrong. You're not as smart as you think. He always had been. They were just phantoms, always punching downwards. He was doing good, and they said not as smart as you think, not stupid. They had admitted his existence. He had won. He was out of their league. He was only strong now. If this test had come a few years earlier, it would have spoke trouble. Then came the promises of relief. Relief through death of his darkness and past. Nothing hurt in the trans-Europe train ride endless. Death greets you warm for your troubles. I would just be reincarnated worse, he thought cleverly. It would be relief came the feelings and thoughts intrusive. The power could be felt like a menacing spirit and weakening legs, but then it didn't become stronger. James exited into normal perceptions. His head hurt and he felt ravaged, but his friends were standing around brushing their throats. It started penetrating James, said Porpoise. I was so scared. Thunk! The dagger went through Clement's throat and out the other side of the neck. He made some aggressive twitching. Your religious friend is a fearful coward and feelings poorly organized, said the wizard voice. As the body was slowly drawn into a bloody, exploding chute, the next door opened. It's going to get more dangerous from here. And uncomfortable thinking. Genius when almost done. It says boss battle on the next door. Porpoise felt terrible agony. He could not control himself. It was a 3-headed white dragon. This is the real deal, James. Just follow and do what I say. Oswald. Remember to keep your defense buffed and max. Don't fight without us. The colder the dragon freezes you, the more physical damage you take. Enough to one-shot you. Every 10 attacks, it will figure out and stop. You will cast regeneration with antifreeze. It is one thing to break free. There's no surviving the 3-headed frenzy burn. Alas, we will use auto-revive, which I have Techang into. It will light up the place. He'll stand on the hind legs. I can't believe we're running a heavyweight team without your mom, Oswald, said Lois. You are a little goblin, but you're being very loud, said Oswald. One head regenerates quickly. We must get them all low at the same time. Yet a new phase begins. Unleash and try hard together. Use your strongest attack. Don't be a coward, men. Laos begun like a gauntlet and fired an ultra-fast half-a-meter wide arrow that went fast like a cannon. It stopped dealing damage, eventually with large antlers shining magically over the dragon. He had figured out the attack. Oswald, protected by Osgiliath with spells, summoned a huge asteroid with earth magic. It teleported in its velocity and hit the dragon from behind the heads. That dealt 15% damage. The dragon froze the wounds with magic. That won't work again. Oswald used his sick teleport abilities to dodge and take every hit. We must keep the buffs up at all times to have a chance, yet it might go wrong anyway. Actually, we can't allow it to buff, or it will one-shot us. Put a new decoy in front of the one we're healing. Oswald spent his mana and stamina quickly. It froze Osgiliath completely, and she took 5 seconds to get out, as Oswald came to help the dragon neck, snapped like a whip with its thorns around the head. He had taken 88% of his health. Oh no, it shattered all my potions, said Oswald. Lao S summoned a straw and sucked up the mana potions. Overload. Chain lightning. Lao S looked small and in pain as thundering distortion, like a sound being played 1,000 times at once bounced between heads. It's too strong. We need to chop off one of its heads. I'm not a pussy, said Oswald. I know you're not. Its attack is increasing before it. Use the white fire blast. Everyone dispel. They used different dispel from different schools, each being quite efficient. The dragon seemed fine moving on to the next thing. The dragon hovered a rock in front of Oswald, then spun through it with its tail, hitting Oswald in a way that you cared about. He wouldn't take that hit, surely? The dragon used fire and poison green breath at the same time, or 2 heads. Poison filled the room. Poison resistance check and skill points.
Also good levels.
Use your best anti-poison. James had to grab 2 vials before.
Let me think about what I want to do next.
With natural resistances, skill perk. He threw his pole arm. Speed me up, Oswald. 9 impact flame fist. Me too, said Porpoise. Flaming sword, disintegration.
Divination man.
Both of them moved in 2 seconds through a cross. That defeated the last boss.
Gonna use my legs, fairy mushroom, to teleport absolutely everywhere.
Resists everything. Might as well go for fire attacks if you want. Sky Horizons, unholy uppercut. The best I can do it anyway. James looked so ferocious, smacking the middle dragon's head. In slow-mo, we could have taken a picture of the grin, determined to take it down. Blood Shaman, Blood Mantra.
Yeah, so running that course trained agility.
Cut through the thick magical hide for the first time. The dragon was on the defense. Every head is down to 20%. Everyone use your best prowess. The dragon regenerated to 50% and blast froze them all. Time and space seemed to quiver as the dragon charged up fire in an orb in the middle head. Laos smashed an auto-revive potion on the floor as the entire room became a fireball. There was such cacophony and redecoration. Waiting time is over. Space-time fist super collider, said James uppercut, so the dragon turned into a ragdoll. It looked like a shoryuken with grin and defying gravity. Its health is down to 13%. We skipped a whole phase. The dragon regenerated back to 50% and stomped, turning everything into a falling lava and rock with great view, a pocket dimension. Dodge the hellfire meteors, or you won't stand a chance. This is a lot to remember, said Osgiliath. Complete. Focus. At the task, said Oswald. I don't want to focus on all the correct theory. I want to lay down of the cozy ice floor and sleep. It's getting into your head. No. Osgiliath laid on the floor. Wake up, get up now. The dragon came teleporting into an agile stomp. She had avoided death. What were you thinking, falling asleep on the floor? The dragons came unexpectedly for a three-headed bite, but James slammed his legs like a destroyer. James kicked stronger than he knew. The dragon felt like giving up for the first time. Give me enough of your treasure, and I will let you live, said a head. Lao S said it's a trick. It's not going to do a damn thing. The dragon froze Lao S. Oswald jumped over a snap and tail spinning and put the frozen statue under his arm. Just die already. James threw a trident from Osgiliath that pierced like a railgun. In a movie, it would have been black and white. It inflicted doom on the whole party. Use your skill to dispel the doom. It won't hit you for 80% of your health. Minimum 20% immediately, but soon there won't be any time. The dragon was surprised they spent all this playing around everything and didn't just attack. The dragon started channeling. Full offense. They threw a hail of weapons and comfortableness, efficiency and safety. Thus dragon Sprue, flamethrower with 3 heads, and moved along. It didn't target James or Porpoise, so they spent their time charging attacks. Fluent counter, whispered Porpoise. James came from behind and targeted the heads. Porpoise waited on a dragon feet attack to counter. 7 impact flame fist. The dragon fell defeated and dizzy, like a straw on a camel. It thought about unreasonable things. It seems we got slow, start Caffeine staff. They were into another entrance to the catacombs, through an amazing but slide without railings. Yensid conjured butt pads, natural extensions of your cheeks that allowed for steering. They twisted left and right into upwards curving SES. If you curved too little, you would be brought down with gravity. Quickly, but sliding the path opened like a puzzle. Every contestant went their separate ways like chaos directions calculated from pool balls. James thought of himself, focused into the next track. Theirs wasn't any. He was offered 46 directions, 2 after each other.
Will be happy.
Ways into casino rooms with free blood to spend.
But I'm trying to lose weight as well.
James took the path down, crossing things impossible to memorize. He could have done a fast turn and stop his momentum, but he went first into the wall, sucked in like a memory. Congratulations, you have been sucked into a casino bonus room. Neuroticism, be warned.
Yeah, I got a hunter level.
Is that how you got here?
Yellow thing, orange thing.
James was ready to play the giant.
So Runescape, you gather wisps from the gleaming springs or other springs, and you put them in the energy rift.
James was ready to play the giant 3 times.
With his mustache.
There was 2 large pieces, golden with the flaunt of the house winds, images of castle weapons. You have 15 diamond, dust free to spend. You can spend additional dust if you want to. James didn't say, can he just keep the currency? It was a mad scientist confident in a black-white dress. He could probably brew himself out of here. Your first roll gives you the roll Daredevil. Risk taking more damage to deal an equal amount of damage. Can only be reset between rooms. Indeed, this is only a reward for skillful. Have a brain or have a lot to risk. Second roll, 3 moon quarters. Third roll, orbital shield. Get lucky and survive damage. Maybe you should always try to dodge anyway. I'll see it as a boost to my maximum health. These are popular, trendy, and upgradable. Fourth and fifth rolls were nothing. Can you tell me something out of character, scientist? Said James. Everyone in a high position in this castle is insane. It is kept on instinct and reflexes. It has power of conservatism and culture vampires. A neck taser. Show your dominance by pocket lightning. Everyone likes a game where the punishment is 400 volts. 3 moon quarters, 3 blood money, and 10 diamond dust that you can't spend here. 7th and 8th. This is a moneymaker, and it is consistent, or so I tell my customers. 1 healthy health, restoring bagel. Bagel carbohydrates is the worst carbohydrates possible. Shut up. Every time we enter a shop or random room like this, we don't take damage. Your friends are dead if they are in the catacombs. James got an upgrade for his orbiting shields, potions for every random room, and figured out from the manual how to shrink them into sushi sticks between danger. I have never had to steer so much in my life, or used my body to keep alive. They all had different stories how they had made barely it into the next room. They gathered in a luxury room with merchant and airport like lodge. It felt like an immediate idea to sit down there and take share in their protein drinks or strawberry lassi. Do you have any sponsors outside the dungeon? Someone claiming a share, E.TC. We have a wizard anonymous, said Archangel, and put his hands on gigantic sword pommel. Porpoise sat down deep into the foamy black leather and considered an aware relaxation. This is the place where you can funnel more sponsored gold inside. Look at our premium gear. There's microtransactions in Dragon's Nest. It's quite a challenge anyways. We want to make it easier for our competitors. There used to be a time where you bought a game and actually got the entire thing and no balance patches. The only reason we have microtransactions now is because of capitalism. A monsterless room, said Porpoise. Let's move on. They entered into 2 deadly doors that seemed as menacing as faint with information. This is the labyrinth inspired by Minos. Don't let the Minotaur catch you. There is contemporary ways to put distance, yet with danger straight ahead. Their other one is an underwater kingdom with labyrinth. Test your memory and magic. I don't feel like going in, Sid, said Raphael. I'm the best swimmer, said James. I'll clear the labyrinth, said Yen Sid. Look, James, I got this air bubble spell that lets you go.
I got the next area unlocked actually for the next wisps.
James tested the conjured bubble gentle with his fingers. Take this spray can of propensity. Paint numbers on the water holes you find.
Propane.
James opened the door.
Propane.
And it was a water barrier alive with an insect. Bring me a crow, he heard Loas say as he passed. He felt neutralized beyond genius and fire. What was all that about? He entered into what looked like a sand pit. Except the water, he sprayed one and jumped in like physical excellence into the unknown. Before he could make out the texture, the jaws of a giant antlion snapped and overlapped each other. He saw the exit south. I'm going to need agility in these waters if I only were fish. James remembered a spell in a genius fashion, just browsing that funnily enough were labeled as water magic. He conjured mahogany-colored swim feet. Like he'd been at water park, he remembered swimming out to islands too far out in Scottish lakes, making out with brunettes and claiming the island as his own. Could have drowned. He realized now that any chance to die like thus is stupid. He came into a multitude of ancient...
Let me tell you a cozy nostalgia story. I used to shop a lot of trees here amongst the ogre champions and ogresses. There's a third one somewhere here. There used to be a different thing over here, a mini game and shit. You went to the bank to put the 10 magic, and you took down the eucalyptus trees. They were Maybe not the best EXP, I was stupid, but they were worth a lot. It's an opportunity, I thought. See what they're worth now.
He came into a multitude of ancient ruins, brown, and algae-infested green. Every 4 meters, they were divided into rooms or larger.
Yeah, Runescape Release is pretty fun.
He came into a multitude of ancient
Steals
ruins,
my bank, isn't
brown,
it?
and algae-infested green. Every 4 meters, they were divided into rooms or larger. There was 5 rooms down and 2.5 left and right.
Meat pie.
Realizing exploring was necessary, participants went furthest right.
So many here.
Mermaids with algae hair had a shop. They slapped a giant fish with a bulldog face back into the next room. You have found the shop slap. Enjoy the mermaid crafts and detail. If you have killed 2 or more dragons, you get a discount of the artifacts.
On these 2
James
artifacts.
uncovered a diadem. It looked good with his biceps that made him take 20% less damage from bosses. And bosses are the fights that matter, but so does every other fight. He discounted boosts to range damage until he was out of the water. There was a room of unicorns breathing underwater in helmets. They moved slowly and chewed on algae.
Don't have a good hatch. Oh, they're worth twice as much.
Who bought an entire apartment building was guarded by
But isn't
James got through rooms and pillars. There was walls between pillars that hid you.
there's nobody here. I'm the
He
only one
decided to
here.
just observe and see what its route was. James went from contemporary safe places to safe places into what seemed the right way to go. James had 5 more minutes to swim, but he decided to swim back for air. He decided to get sucked down into a vent in the sand, regretted his progress. He couldn't breathe in the sand as the tougher sand made a passage. He saw a magnificent underwater city in a massive room. It seemed gleaming in slightly less than yellow brass colors, gray and brown. There were spires, and it looked ancient and sturdy, like forgotten. A beautiful mermaid, rather purple and pale than green hair, got scared from the human.
Just making some music.
Also because of the giant moray eel. James deflected with power and held a white mana shield. The eel went away, not bothering with the prey and shield. James spotted the mermaid head. What is this rather city spotted? The mermaid went up in a swirl. It goes to say she had breasts like heads. Her stomach protruded gently outwards. A human such as this? The mermaid ignored her love at first sight and thought it was discardable. It is the city of the underwater ancients, grew through evolution first. Follow me with your feet, and I can make sure you don't get impaled. Oh, right humans don't have those kind of feet. But if we did, we solve things through inventions, right? I'm sorry if I get anything wrong about humans. We usually don't get many. They die in the sand excavation. No, it usually doesn't suck people down in uneven relations of pressure and plates between castles. Why did you guys decide on a place under the castle here? The city came first. You pay with blood money here in the great trading above district. Anything else is offensive you want me to exchange? I can pay you back with a winning maybe. I'm sure to reach the dragon. I'm not going to fight it. I made an intellectual promise. Yes, sure you can change then. I'm the daughter of a banker. You won't miss the conglomerate. No, wait, I have a gold bag here. James exchanged 40 blood money, paying a fee, it seemed. Her confidence left her as she was out of normal things to say. It's not the same blood money as in the tower, and with a different printing date. Exchanging is thus possible. This blood money is much fresher. It has a will of its own. Yet people say it's like that. It draws to me towards explosives. No, I don't think it's supposed to do that, human. Are all humans like you? Yes, they are strong and kind, with dreams and putting up with reality. They are smart specimen, the smartest 1,300 milliliters brain of primates and mammals, inventing a way to beat every bigger animal. Bipedals with receding hairline and work qualms. We mermaids are really smart too, she said, soothing and smooth. Everyone knows we're not a stupid race. Wow, you are so kind, just like us. She hugged him in the stomach, I knew it, and pushed down his triceps like a clay project. She seemed busy and in her own world. What was that about, thought James. Are there any reverse mermaids? Just a fish head, human legs, and penis? Yes, but they haven't been spotted in ages. They seem to be fish head on the side and 2 eyes on the front. James started pushing his good boyfriend, portrait with gleaming physique and like he had raven hair, just to see what would happen. He liked entertaining women who only thought of themselves average. I had my hair just recently. You missed it with an instance of time. Excuses, E? Yes, I have figured out what to say and everything. What would that be then? I'm a gym disciple, philosophy disciple, and agreeable. You'd be surprised of what we think. I'll go and rendezvous with sellers. I'm going to invent a gym and for people to get all their week's health in one go. She never said she wanted him to stay. James had geared him up like a proper warrior. Thick armor, shoulder armor, and resistances against monsters, a flail, and scrolls on sale. He can find things until the swimming was done. There was bellows to swallow like a protein shake, increasing him time spent underwater. James went through forgettable passageways en masse. Some things were impressionable. Some rooms seemed to talk to him. Some visions seemed real through dirt and sway. Time seemed so faint and fluent, he was paying attention now, but it would all turn into white mist. James delved deeper and deeper into ruins and impossible things to memorize. He found a key that fit into door 17. Which door was 17? He got distracted into treasure as floating teal text said in an airlock, said, "Theirs is a treasure room on the same floor as door 17. 3 headed water ogres, waiting on him on land with a crusty chest. James put them to sleep with Jim monologuing spell and gathered 2 crowns, 1 silver, 1 red velvet, and gold. After door 17, Iz was going up backwards a long path where a waterhole said key, 25. Boss room he was ready to spend. James fought fishmen, foe after foe, with different polearms and endless energy drain. They kept the path busy with their bodies. After the adventure, the next door was the dragon's treasure chamber. Unbelievable. James activated the teleport for the rest of the team, confused from maze work or exhausted. We had to take down a Greek god Apollo, James. He fought with Minos. Indeed, it was a giant room of Greek columns, hollow rooms on coin, and see-through elevation. Mostly piles of gold everywhere. Sea of gold, gems except emerald, diamond chainmail, mithril armor, adamant scimitars. Some weapons were too gem to use efficiently and made out of weak gold material. Maybe several rooms led into this giant room. Crowns and tiaras were magical. Cups had gold aplenty, so did horns filled with diamonds. We made it thus. This room is fair. Just pick the things that doesn't wake the dragon. Teleport out carrying as much as you can. That is the brilliant meta. The dragon has never been defeated, James, said Raphael. Like the other ancient metal magic-infused dragons, it's immune to many schools of magic. It's like an alien ready.
To listen to this song, hopefully I won't get DMCA'd on one song. It's usually not that fast. Billy, I know. That was the song I was drumming, you know? This is one more song, I think. Yeah, I don't have any strikes anyway. Bruh.
There's a million ways to die. Should have left me way back. Should have left me way back. But
You read this if you want. In Tokyo? As he moved? Bruh. I don't even have none of the power actually. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Listen to second page.
Eat ideal base food, considerate for the animals, except those that die, and for the environment. He was 80% vegan, a terrible vegan now, a conceited vegan, and himself or contemporary vegan. Morally killing 0 animals per year makes a lot of sense. Would they die for him? Like skipping red velvet cake. Never risk holy cake. 300 calories per slice. He had no excuses and confined eating to being tasty. There were points minus for heavy metals, longevity, and bacteria, but he would have to give up Parmesan, Grano Padano, and Jura cheeses. It was natural for jaguars to eat meat to survive, although the taste was raw and not better than cilantro, motivating killing in their philosophy except with brother pumas and sisters, family. Now we do it to die earlier, like falling out of a glass frame into the woodchucker of metabolic diets. It's even minus for depression and mental health. The jaguars licked their spotted butts and were so content being a bigger part of the machination. Although meat minus health is inevitable, meat eaters to about 20, for example, don't live long enough to clog their arteries. Mostly vegans dissuade meat for the animals through. Maybe he should have argued with a sheep, boar-headed exterior, or high-class person. How he would struggle against meat and machination. Being 2.2 meters tall and 150 kilos of anatomically normal, functional, dormant changing muscle gave him gigantic legs, and thus an extension shins like heads too, because after reasonable tall lengths, it's only the legs that grow. But he did not look like a frog either, or a cyclist, no matter the front teeth of purveyors or stiff upper lip. He had a shoulder X2, width like chests of drawers and cars like stature. In the suit, he would be a wall, in boxers, an anatomy chart, and with a pump and the right light, he was really good. His back was wide and had a different impression than the front. It was pleasing to look like, meaty and a mass on a higher back. You know he would do something, reliably pull, reliable in relationships, reliable in cohesiveness. A view that is presumed and yet surprising. A confined set yet new.
Oh, and bang that, huh?
He had the endurance
Seems
and
like
ease for exaggerated,
blank
unfair
over
physical
there.
strength. Broad, and thus like a tall brawn unit you don't expect to face and challenge, playing the James fought fishmen, foe after foe, with different polearms and endless.
Vanilla yogurt, less
They kept
sweet.
the path busy with their bodies.
Still 62 grams of sugar and
After the
it's...
adventure, the next
Oh well.
door was the dragon's treasure chamber. Unbelievable. James activated the teleport for the rest of the team, confused from maze work or exhausted. We had to take down a Greek god Apollo, James. He fought with Minos. Indeed, it was a giant room of Greek columns, hollow rooms on coin, and see-through elevation. Mostly piles of gold everywhere. Sea of gold, gems except emerald, diamond chainmail, mithril armor, adamant scimitars. We made it thus. This room is fair. Just
It's kinda fucked up.
doesn't wake the dragon. Teleport out carrying as much as you can. That is the brilliant meta. The dragon has never been defeated, James, said Raphael. Like the other ancient metal magic-infused dragons, it's immune to many schools of magic. It's like an alien ready to blow your mind. Yensid, make us as magically light and soundless if you can. Aye, Yensid was proud over him.
There, take
So
another
they went in different directions, tiptoeing.
iced coffee is reasonable. I'll take an energy
James
drink
looked
as
over
well.
a crown, pouring gold over as he inspected. It hit a diamond skull, He also took a barrel opulent chest with a giant golden outlaid keyhole. He thought to sell the chest as well as its contents, probably a teleporting global access chest, jade and sapphire and barrel figurines, flawless rubies the size of heads, uncut onyx triple blacker than black. They went on, and carefully like the wise, they had their packs and pockets half full. Crash. Another 10 members of the party broke through the roof and landed on a 20M dragon with rubble. Enter the dragon room, a voice said. They could hear the dragon's thoughts. I see some of you have returned here again. Stop taking my treasure, it's all time. You have enough treasure. The dragon was silvery, and yet the tiniest hint of teal, opened its yellow 4 eyes with 8 irises, slowly got up and snorted fire for 3 seconds. The powerful snorting stunned everyone overpowered for the duration they noticed. They started attacking and axing the dragon, the other party. 2 attacks went through its hide and it magically spun, knocking everyone off with a spear of magic too. The party intelligently started filling their bags with anything nearby and then teleporting out. Like an alien, the dragon jumped 10 meters in a second, crunched the ground, swallowed their adventurers like a whale. The dragon gathered power gleaming and regurgitated the skeleton with a sphere traveling
Yay,
slowly,
talk to
shooting
trees with
javelins,
funny
lightning with
personalities.
limited range and ice barrage. The spell was too powerful for them, blinding. The dragon got hit as it gathered power, fire inside its mouth. Their fates told them
It's really
they were
quick.
potential death. It spewed a small implosion fireball, traveling slowly. Massive explosion asterisk.
It was
party
just
members
page
got
2 when I went to the bathroom, right?
For party members got completely engulfed by the fireball, disappearing in one
Alright,
second.
it was unreasonable to eat more during to lose weight, and I didn't do it. It's great. There's a few invisible calories in the sweeteners. It's kinda hard to play around.
For party members got completely engulfed.
Especially since there's like 1,000, 2,000 calories in invisible calories in zero soda. You can feel, you can almost feel those. It kind of feels like expanding stomach. How you feel.
For party
Last
members got
berries, ice,
completely
creamy
engulfed by
cookie.
fireball, disappearing in 1 second. Then the implosion pulled everyone outside in like a noose and still hot. Yensid blinded and confused the dragon as best he could, teleporting around, but the dragon used counter magic unknown to them, locking Yensid in magical shackles. He teleported out. You are slow, dragon, said Porpoise. Don't be stupid. Porpoise bravely took the dragon's attention. He flipped over a swipe, front paws into the earth into shaking and stunning, sidestepped lasers and charged his defense outstretched. Dragon temper, said the dragon, and came blinking. Porpoise blocked the flight, sacrificing the surroundings like cheating into time. The entire attack didn't come at once. I can hold him, grab onto the treasure, and get out. The party stopped fighting and gathered the treasure like plants. The dragon kept using more powerful physical attacks. Porpoise slammed the shield into the ground. It didn't budge, but sounds of breaking.
So smooth using this thing
It
here.
was sitting on treasure. The dragon rose on its hind legs and slammed down on Porpoise's shield, screeching like a giant that slammed again and again, savagely. Porpoise is going to break, said James. I'm invincible under my shield. Take some treasure for me. That's not the rules, said Archangel. Porpoise did a counter to blind and keep the dragon busy while he collected items. You won't stop fighting, biting, piercing, feisty. My body is caged, but my spirit is free. The dragon voice was raspier when it said, if you don't stop, I will blast burn. Raphael fought the dragon with divine vengeance spells, the most powerful holy magic, a worthy opponent, but the dragon beat him and kept him busy with his thick, armored tail. An angry, fiery stomp of the dragon sent fire magic second quick throughout their party. Melting their armor with degrees told them superior. James blocked and thought 3 seconds before throwing 2 rebound, warhammers and axe. The dragon seemed immune to impact magic. In his strange eyes could you see the realization of revenge before their doom. Blast burn charge. James filled his backpack, hungrily but panicky, grabbed his arm's length with weapons glorious and opulent. As the mithril dragon spewed blue flames in an inferno, he teleported out. He was teleported next to Yensid and Porpoise at London Gates. Hoo-hoo, I can't believe we did that, yeah. We got triggered despite a party crash, said Porpoise negatively, but analyzingly correct. The dragon is awake for 3 days thus when it is awoken, said Yensid. On to the tavern, said James. Raphael came through the holy blue gate behind them. Raphael, stay here, and we'll come back and pick up the stuff on the ground. In the tavern-based Porpoise said, let's go to a tavern in London, James, and buy their most expensive stuff, something I've always wanted to do. And a 5-star hotel, and we shall drink and ravage the penthouse. What do you say to fetching Eugene? There are parties around for like triangulated occasions. Chapter, the pretension. We play a game to get out of the poor system. James? What did you say? I'm not proud over our mountain of history. We're not all the same. Please don't judge us. You can say what you want to say. We shall do a race, a game in the name of King Galather. An elven Iron Man, it is not just about winning, but survival. Don't lose as you die. You would be fine as you wouldn't die. It is constant exercising, a hot marathon. You climb up a mountain, sleeping is allowed a cycle around the border. If the run is at the end, I can do it, will feel good. The winner doesn't just get rich, they get out of the system. It is a promise to men and elves that is a constant. We live in a feudal world. Yeah, you really do. Mountain elves don't enjoy their days. They are unhappy and toil. They are not like purple elves. Pointy ear bastards. All right, that's enough. You will do it to get your hairline back. I don't have a choice. Your desperation will be your downfall. I will keep it cool.
Tyngre PV och sour apple. 2 grams of amino acids. It's good for the brain.
What would you risk to lose your hair, Oswald? All men lose their hair.
Oh yeah, if you're at your last steps with bad mental health, see, randomly started the stream by saying it's typical for me, right? There must be medicine. Yeah, but you know, if you exercise, that might help.
All men lose their hair. Such things to accept must happen slowly.
Oh yeah, we know scientifically that it is a real cognitive enhancer and efficiency thing to exercise for the brain. It is. I read a book about this. Extremely good for the brain to exercise, and endurance exercise even increases IQ. And going to the gym is work enough for the heart as well as medium exercising for the heart.
All men lose their hair. Such things to accept must happen slowly. The barrier of acceptance must be tread unnoticed. The real question is, now that you have, what would you do to get it back? They came into elven lands of summer and fighting for attention. A choice of consciousness and a hint of the future. They saw many...
Oh, sorry, I realize there's medicine for something. I don't know what it is, but you know, I'm just so smart, right? I'm sorry, don't let it, it's whatever, right? Please feel good.
They came into elven lands of summer and fighting for attention. A choice of consciousness and a hint of the future. They saw many poor elves fighting for their dummy chance and respect they deserve.
This is the
I
worst
had
flavor
400
for a
contestants ready to climb the mountain.
functional drink
5,000 M
or energy
would count
drink.
stark. Stark like a seagull. Insane like King Galanther. The slowest 40% will be eliminated, said Oswald to James. Then 40% of the cycling. Then 40% of the marathon. The money distribution increases with 25% for every place from 25 to 1. Winner gets 400,000 Elven dineros. Most of them gave a cozy start as the steepness of the mountains spoke warnings. They had space-confined treats, tents, and trepidation. I shall grab 2 walk sticks and carve them into my triceps, pulling with little finger down. I will not only use my legs. If it burns 30% more calories, maybe it's 30% energy saved expenditure? We will lose all our calories, fat cells for the climb, constant movement for days, burning 300 per hour or max 450. People lose 40 kilograms climbing Mount Everest, said James. I went into a butcher shop and bought all the dried meat. We will face each other's company for 20 days. You are like a nice elf friend. I have many in the military. Great people, joking about murder. I am a nice guy. You can talk to me about anything and social in an endless way. I don't believe people to be endless. All right, I'll let you know if I don't want to talk. You are clearly more beefy, but I have the discipline of the Gallifreyan military training. The ability to ignore your body and fall on the spot. We will ignore our bodies and win feeling faint. You're thinking about balance? I am used to comfort and strangling and swatting with surplus. They faced the first night, making camp with people around them closely, considering not other humans or elves, making space in their outmost ring of familiar group social animal tolerance. There was a huge circular tent, 2 chairs, and a fire that did not hurt the light red roof. Mana potions and food will take up the weight before James asked. And Oswald finger blasted a vulture. The finger magic was so unfair, he dropped like a rock. To eat the corpse cedar, thus recycle and rebirth my biceps. I don't feel like a corpse cedar, the worm. We will exercise and defeat our muscle fibers. I don't know of this. You are born with fast and slow muscle fiber. You can train one while resting the other, just like you need to raise your heel and bend the knee to reach the deep calf muscles, not just squat. So squat does not train the legs perfectly. It is a technicality we do not consider, like the genius into insanity and the fool into doom. James said, we will deplete our muscle fiber, and when we run out of fat, spend the muscle we need to climb. Let's do the math. It would well to have some fat. To wither the winter and climb to the Blanc top, we must have muscle to wield. If we walk 15 hours per day, we must drink 4,500 calories.
Wait, is it nervousness, anguish, anxiety medication? I'm just showing off now.
If we walk 15 hours per day, we must drink 4,500 calories of fat I recommend. I bought a jar of coconut fat. I bought a bottomless whipped cream canister. It's not really bottomless, it's just a selling point. It's easy to move on a vegan energy. Let's try to buy the shea fat palm oil jars from other people. They won't see the value. And coconut oil, sugar is cheap and good energy. I know a guy who wants to get rid of his olive oil bottle. They slept with a steel giant lantern and cozy sleeping sacks of linen and sheep wool. Someone contemplated stealing their stuff, but didn't do it. They awoke, taking it easy and enjoying the parts of life that is comfortable, physical privilege, an investment into privileged every day. It was slow, cozy breaths into a genius that told of action and keeping to a level. Life seemed all right at that moment. You look muscular being bald and missing the
Can I
point.
go to the bathroom?
I am getting used to it, said James morose and with smoldering, deep anger. They heated up oats and blueberries and shea grease and felt fine to walk a few kilometers, yet minus fat and muscle yesterday. James took a spoon of shea directly into his mouth. Delicious asterisk arg your SHHRRSHSSCHRHSCHR. He started choking on it. You see this spicy cream cheese and lettuce bagel, James. I'll let you have it for 40 quid, said as a sending backpack player with cheekiness and humanity. I'll take it, said James, and ate a second breakfast like the first one. There was a pleasant pheasant forest with goats and quail. Oswald finger-banged quail and hung on his back on one of the walking sticks. A weebo, James told Oswald. There were different trees that survived on this height. Some looked like birch and had poison ivy or fern-looking bunches on its branches. There were confused rodents and bunnies. They were starting to turn white. There was a Norway lemming black and brown that attacked James' boots, so he put it upside down in a potion. In my world, you either run amongst cars or fern, exiting the forest with a sharper and clearer mind. Batman said, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Wait, cars? They are vehicles, usually fitting 4 people. We just discovered how to turn the air pleasant, air conditioned. They are like a wagon pulled by a horse. Usually put yourself in debt for 10 years to buy one with tablets and music services. It must be really fast then. What is an elven ambition? To be part of a system and culture, yet walk our own path, rid of stupidity. I hope you can finalize your dreams. Good luck on your path, to dream of paradise and start politics. I could never be a politician. I am reserved and introverted instead. I'm taking out all contestants one by one, said an elf. Don't anger me. The long braided ponytail, white-haired, went through them and put them on a list. Bald Glimmer. James reflected the sun with his baldness, and it dissuaded him. They let him pass with guile, both the guile from the company and from him. He's going to be a problem later, said Oswald after some patience. Just smart enough to become a threat. Do you want some ham with your bread? I wish we had some butter with cheese. Doesn't really keep, does it? It would keep long enough for me. Now you have something to wish for when we get back. They trudged and went through normal thoughts, regrettably sizing up the competition wrong. They saw many hamsters and rodents. They went up as the rodents were just traveling a certain distance to their home. I need a hamster for potions later, said Oswald, and put a hamster upside down in his potion. The hamster flailed its limbs inside and outside the bottle. He didn't know that it would be a long time. Oswald thought of the elven industry, similar elves, and jobs of just putting hamsters into bottles feed up, to work with something meaningful he wanted at that time. He had sarcastic comments and something dying inside. If it made him rich, for how much money would he continue? They were feeling the steep foot of the mountain, a disagreement to get used to. Like neuroticism, there's so many things we can choose to tolerate. What constantly nags you forcing you to stop?
0.0 beer as well.
The mountain had an impression to measure. It was alive.
How
and
many
hosted
calories?
contestants. They were one with the constant, almost as
12 times 3.
The mountain hosted rare black and white gibbons. They really had longer arms than legs, moving in the trees like feet. This is ape country until it gets snowy, and there's still hot springs the snow macaque shit in. You haven't seen the white giant gorillas? They have pink, wrinkled faces and beget wisdom of industrial elves. Where I come from, there is really industry. You should see the smoke sky of England and steel mills. The sky is blurred. Used to be. I got ahead of my intuitive self. We have a gay steel mill in Manchester. A fabulous story of manly men turning too much into sternness.
Work hard and party
Work
hard.
hard and play hard, said Oswald.
I love a good
We're
gay
quiet
steel
about it.
mill.
So the people come there between biceps and handbar mustache, meeting sternness.
Look, it's an alligator. It's an
There's
man
a
mill.
mandrill. They are aggressive. I think the lad is going to attack me. You're looking at him funny. As the ape came, James turned into a blur and swung his tail. Absolute ape windhoek. This is how you say Nambia capital windhoek. James tossed the mandrill into the sky. He would probably land into leaves and figs. We humans are physiology. Like mandrills, we eat fruit and vegetables.
As we roll around the
Mountain
place,
elves can't eat chocolate, as don't make our own vitamins and minerals. But we lightly spend and never stress unless there is a real reason. How many amino acids do you make? 16, like humans plus histidine, leucine, lysine, and threonine. A chapter about a crazy game where you die, normal and mundane.
many of you will die running up this hill.
And the moral. I'm going to go to the magic shop.
That's not good enough, I think.
Being back home a
But I
month
keep
later,
rewriting it,
he
it's
had
still
missed
not good
his brain
enough.
being
What am I
crazy
supposed to do? I just
boosted,
have to delete it.
being even more social like grease lightning and thinking up new directions like a genius. Being a speedy doer and enduring sprite, inspired and passionate, almost like we need to coin a new diagnosis here, non-attention deficit? His friends are picking up something extraordinary was happening, because the boosting put forth sides of his unique brain that were the smartest of a very few, boundless power and intersectionality. His brain was so sensitive to picking up things now that he might as well be another species than human. Like an autistic savant, his brain worked like a super machine. He wasn't through. He was completely social in the ways grand and conceited in the social rich parents-like way. James was also mostly going for the permanently smarter things, not the daily boosters. Some were both. The chewing of ginkgo leaves, no need to alter, were giving him slight headaches
Now
all
the
the time.
ESF
He was
shares
losing
so
100%
well,
of
need
his
to
brain.
write about it.
James figured through it only hurt when he looked for it. Wasn't this supposed to decrease headaches? What would a man do to get smarter? After talking to the successful party at the same tavern they met, except for those that crashed into the dragon, rubble, and everything and died brutally, those that got stuck in the rooms, and those that got lost in the catacombs. They had listeners and extra drinkers eager to hear their audacity and claims on treasure old and legendary. They all had golden and opulent appearances now, like the survivors of a lost gold expedition. They were talking to a gold group, posing. James had his right glaive knuckles in gold and dark crystal sapphire, but it was actually alloyed with adamant. Also a golden sword and his compass dagger. James asked Oswald if he knew any Seer's Foggy, and Oswald didn't mind showing him himself, priding on his memory and orientation. Oswald was a proud, intuitive, charming man, but didn't seek the spotlight. Competence doesn't always seek the spotlight. It searches to become greater, a 1/2 priority. James was glad to have entrance again in elven lands and with an elven storyteller. They walked through forests of every color and the bottom of mountains promising greatness, rivers sparkling alive in sunshine, salmon filled with roe jumping upstream, sometimes straight into bears standing with their mouths open, and other animals brutally eating each other. Just this alone makes you think killing is wrong, as a hare squeals and tries to escape. Maybe this is as hard as it has to be. James saw a wolf chasing a rabbit and thought instinctively to act. But if it even mattered?
Time.
A death-touching negativity said, "What's another rabbit?" It mattered to the rabbit. James turned his discus into pure impact and hit the wolf mangy like a train. He flew out of sight comically. Oswald even helped with some healing magic. James thought not to disassociate killing with the meat he ate in the future. The truth lies in the difficulty of killing, not something you should disassociate. Farmers lie about this. Having meat, products without the process
That's
is
pretty
indeed like
good.
cake and just as dangerous.
It's pretty good.
The rabbit was grateful and half scared. These big men could be dangerous. Lick.
I'm stirring.
Enter Seer's alcove. This is an elven seer, she is. Better not say anything now. Don't risk it, she could hear you. Wise words, said a blue elf with light blue glowing eyes. She looked like a druid, but didn't look old, more like timeless. A white macaw on her shoulder said, I want to earn a pistak cutely.
Bruh.
Great plumage in it. Is it Norwegian? Of course it's not, said James. There are no parrots in Norway except blue. You speak to the elder god, Sasquatch keeper of all living things and weaver of the trails of fate.
Bruh.
I thought of this as I inspected the plumage. I'm kidding, said the seer heartily. Rhea the macaw screamed. Just like children, they scream, deafly, seer Seth. Analyze me, said James epically and flexed his chest. I'm ready. She looked into his eyes, read his hand, put her hand on his heart, then stomach. Stop analyzing me, spiritually back. This is so annoying. I know which answers you seek, but I cannot give them to you. The future is not something I understand like it's read from a history.
I'm gonna hunt implings for lots of EXP and things I want to discard from my hand.
I know which answers you seek, but I cannot give them to you. The future is not something I understand like it's read from a history book, and the facts are not straight and concise like the certainty you like. Never expect a psychic to give the full picture. Now, give me your money. They understood the joke. But there is another path for you, something you didn't know you were ready for and deserve. Unlimited power, power to best your opponents and take names, to dominate beasts and get the respect from predators, concerned with the limits of one's cunning, to communicate in languages and pestilent poetry of giants. To expand territory, Farid is in conquest. What defines the word power, anyway? Also, you have unnatural spiritual power like you're a more brilliant machine eating up your surroundings. I'm eating brain boosters. Which one? Yes, all of them. You figured out your spirituality comes from the size of your brain, right? Listen humbly now, or you do not technically deserve it. There is a master of fighting and wisdom, old but cunning, foreshadowing level 7. That the highest level, said Oswald. He is as strong as you, James, getting stronger forever faster than anyone else in the mountains of barely breathable air, and doesn't really die if you can figure out how. How did she know? Said Oswald, easily impressed by the seer. You'll find that you can get nothing through force from him, yet he won't tell you everything anyway. He sits on secrets like personalized time and power. He can teach you one of the unholy strikes, time to become a student. You need to swim up a waterfall to reach him at 4,000 meters. The macaw started play biting the seer, and the seer bit it back. This hasn't been real enough, said Oswald, demanding something really unrealistic.
Yeah, all the seers are useless. Never tell anything you need.
If you had the chance
it's a side
to
quest,
death,
though.
would you learn? I would avoid it. Typical answer. This is a death you cannot avoid.
Damn it.
Maybe it's death you can delay, but fate puts it back unlucky 6 weeks later. You can dance around death, but you get X-housed avoiding it. You need 300 IQ or psychic ability to truly not be surprised, to figure out when the new whack comes to the back of the head. To force a timeline and defy fate is like forcing something new to be made for you, and it might fit poorly. Here's a tip, Arnaud. To survive the first guaranteed death and access changing the fates, you had to say I'm ready to die, and mean it, for about a few seconds, until you feel something of a mind bloom, real contact. The spirit of parrots shall guide you true. The seer clapped her hands over her head, following a blinding spiritual explosion, and they were knocked out of the alcove. The seer and alcove had disappeared into what scenery filled in better. I shall gift you arduous journey cheese, hard cheese, but doesn't require refrigerating. Don't you lads have crumbling dwarven shortbread? I saw you eating all kinds of shortbread. It's not healthy, you know. Dwarven shortbread. It's so thick, buttery and crumbly. One bar will satiate for the day. It might not look like much, but it's 2,500 calories. Eventually, you stop feeling hungry. Dietitians are marveled by this out of words, know when not to speak. Dwarves have gotten fat in weeks, unbuttoning their pants with dwarven shortbread quick. It is tasty. It's not bread, it's a rectangular buttered cookie crumb. There's a stack hidden. I will have to go to Arcspire and buy more. He gave James a proper bag. Wow, this tastes great. I want another one. This is like the perfect cookie. No, don't do it. We also have Northel fish, Walchurkabin grapevine. White burning liquor. One glass tastes like sweet, expensive medicine and is 6,000 calories. Tastes like a mistake. I shall leave you to your 4,000-meter climb. We are already thus. James started running with comfortable pace, followed the blue macaw spirit, helpful and clear, unlike most spirits. When he was hungry, he ate. When he was tired, he slept. He ran day and night, keeping up with the spirit. He could run like walking was human, and pressure could be exerted. He was excited for this good extra exercise. This was casual-like for him. He should have trained and competed for marathons. Try pinnacle human attempts. One morning, he woke to a wolf growling next to his head. The spirit was curious, but mostly unaffected by the wolf. The spirit was as interested as a spirit could be existing limited, maybe laughing. He grabbed the wolf's mangy mouth quickly, and then sat on it with his square butt cheeks. He meditated for some minutes, and then got going. He went through bitter farmers' land and dryads, using parts of themselves to help their garden. He slept under fallen trees and on huge redwoods high. His stars fitted his spirituality, and his spirit leapt high as he focused into the stars. Indeed, eventually he came across a 100-meter sparkling, bright waterfall. The spirit went up. Using hamster technique, he started climbing the mountainside, next to the waterfall. His thoughts went to pumpkin-iced spray tan, mocha latte coffee eventually. How could he still be addicted after all these years? Maybe he was addicted to some chemical? He
I
was
went in the
probably
wrong
clear of
direction.
the chemicals in his body. Then it went up and up without a waterfall. The mountainside was goaty and scarce until he came into a thin, tall red forest. There were so many goats and different
Crop
kinds of
circle
felt, like
in
the
my
joke of a wizard.
ass. Whoa!
The spirit seemed lightened, and he was losing his connection to it. For sure, it felt like light leaving his stomach, and he wanted it back, though never made time to be friends. It sped ahead into a man over a smaller waterfall and pond, meditating brutally in a yoga position, eyes closed and hovering a meter in the air. It was a very muscular barbarian upper body person who was built like a one-piece character. Although old, he was easily as muscular as James, eyes with a lot of white in them, white mustache, goatee. He looked like he was 25 if it wasn't for
Bruh.
the white long hair. His chest muscles were popping like they could barely fit. He had nostrils and was furry like a bison, and you would not get the last word in. He was scarred and bare-chested, 2 meters between shoulders and arms like trees, abs like razors, and quite as tall. "Greetings, fellow human," James said, confusingly like an alien. "I'm half human, boy," he said abruptly. "This spirit tells me you have come in humility to be teached in our ways. Supposedly, the 8th student of unholy theory. I can tell you are wise." "Why?" "You are floating in the air." "Tell me why you interrupted my meditation. Doing nothing never felt so good." "You are supposed to be a great teacher." James bowed. "Teach me your honor, fighting, and your diligence." "Doesn't mean you will understand a thing. Punch me. I want to feel what your fist says." "I'll punch you in the stomach." James punched excellently in his abs. It knocked the stones and leaves nearby around. Silencing sound in a shockwave. It was as if the punch had a suction. It would have decimated a brick wall, but here it hit something harder. "I accept you as a student," he said, like fierce. Instantly, the old man went for a stomach punch in Mach 2. James tightened into a bodybuilding pose, chest flexed and arms 90 degrees on stomach sides, and focused on enduring. It wasn't fast enough, their hair and mustache blew backwards thus. James flew over the ground until he dug dirt up with his head and back. Jesus Christ, he hit hard. It was like getting hit by a god. He had to reconsider humans being strong, and faintly realized maybe he had to do it again. The competition was stellar, like a rugby team. Before, you might have been used to being the strongest or fastest, no more. You will be humbled. This is a spiritual thing, my punches. They will not make sense at first. The first unholy strike will not be told over tea and sugar peaches. James told him a bit about himself. I am half elf, half barbarian. I have been training my punches for 600 years. Toadsburg. I think I will be a monster like you when I get older. No, you will not age normally, super gym human, unless you get too fat. Maybe you will live long like elves. He said it being generous, but it wasn't very likely. I know just what to do to live long statistically, social connection, and entertaining. Blue zone plant diet. Tweaks of powerful bean longevity vitamins, coffee bean antioxidants, exercise for autophagy, walnuts and spinach is the most powerful against cancer. I didn't believe elves could live for thousands of years until I saw they are eternal and relevant, he said conversationally. They are great to meet. I enjoy it every time. I'm 667, still in my prime. His words were succulent, like from a hunter. James stayed without jokes, usual and humble like a student. He took no offense. I know punches fire, everlasting. Impact of someone animalistic, upset, and tempered. To knock someone almost into the horizon. Interesting. No, it's not the strongest form. Let's see what you can do. First lesson, he said, echoing. The old man punched a mountain slab and made it explode zesty 2 seconds later. It was such a seamless punch, deadly dark colors. ELD Everlasting can make explosive boxer punches, figured out, like a grenade on a boxer fist. An arena with the boxing you only ever wished for, wizard weight. He tried intuitively but couldn't do it. Punches were fiery and fierce, but didn't
6800.
explode, like he wasn't smart enough. He realized now he was going to have to stay in this state of mind a lot now, being unable. He accepted it. James thought of combining fire and impact magic and came with an implosion. Implosion fire, then explosion. It was blinding right before and after hitting. That's it technically, said James, but not only fire. Tell me now. I spent enough time unable. Concentrate fire in your fist and heart. Grow your heart. Implode emotionally enough before you explode with everything. Like the wisdom of something cute, like loving. Know your superiority with the technique. Keep the explosion in your fist. You can retain the force of a star in this closed palm explosion, but it is magic to drain you completely unless you train months or years. Spring salmon. I'll do it in 6 months. Instinctively, James figured out what the entire move would teach him and what he must do to perfect it. It's not easy being a genius. He could only follow the thought like it was through time, a personal ladder, because he was psychic. He really got a glimpse from the future doing it, but thought it was intuition. Practice here, spring chaff. Don't damage the nature like you are smarter and better at philosophy. Mountains will survive us. Plants and wheat are hasty with survival, concerned like stressed. They will replant and be hasty for 100,000 years. If you are really quiet, you can hear the plant's emotion. What do you feel when you pull the fiber unfairly and water the earth? I contemplate the strange and quantify, categorize. They say scientists figured out carrot scream when you pull them out of the earth. Toadsburg went into a bodybuilding pose, out with his chest and clad himself. It seemed his skin turned into black-red steel. James went into practice, keenly instead of showing off. But it impressed Toadsburg with ADHD-like speed and ferocity anyway. James didn't realize his flawless, seamless mind within ferocity others can't find balance or precision in. One punch was true as a poem about space, distance and time, and sent Toadberg measured, losing his balance. He regrew his chest hair with pure willpower and said, All right, I have been social and agreeable enough now for my wife's liking. I'll retreat into my forest. She didn't live for elf years. Was he upset about a punch? Surely not. That's too bad in a cheers. Maybe the giant bears and animals here will accept you around me. I'm a brutal and giant animal whisperer. He went into his yoga position, hands on knees, sitting shins over legs in the air, and hovered away. I have a contemporary idea. Toadsburg patiently stopped, back turned. Teach me your meditation ways, so I have something to do, or more of nothing. Meditate as long as you can while I put this spell on you. Bother me thus, when it has stopped. Take this meditating medallion. It's unfair at first, but it will help you find perfect structure in nothing. It will also make you sleepy. James sat mussily down and started to feel as one of the bears conserving, one with the trees green and rock surviving, minds unsettling going frequents through everything around him. Never get into conscious sleep territory, boy. Sleep isn't meditation, even conscious. Talk to me again when your spirit lifts like you feel hovering. Lightweight. James could get into meditation as deep as you can go in about 15 minutes. It was like keeping on a rock from falling from a mountaintop, and you feel like you could hover. Like watching yourself from an outside perspective. The spell pushed and tore on his mind like healing as he meditated. His insides could be still and wise and spiritual. If you went further, there was genius behind the calmness, like the lungs of a marathon runner. Or lungfish. Meditation sure gives you peace. Sometimes people who push and produce above their limits every day can be completely different and attracting with their ground zero too. Maybe they never hit ground zero. The meditation gave him insight. He understood with feeling and not thinking. It was about being able to conquer his obstacles between peace and action. The truth of life and between can all be understood with feeling, not intelligence. Know the answer of wisdom and being a good person. And then his purpose found within it. What he hasn't realized was enough instead of clutching at straws of never stopping requiring perfection. He twitched yet resisted and pondered on the questions, subconsciously. The ENTP questions can be raw and piercing thus, the hardest to answer like profound philosophy. If you are smart, your questions can be hard to answer. If you ask important questions, you ask how things should be. Fire blood started boiling into his veins, like biceps, for example, until the spell stopped like a star burning out of sight. Lots of emotional things crossed his mind in peace, like a lover of your poetry and kindness. Maybe he actually had a respectful relationship with someone like this. Who could it be? He bothered Toadsburg thus after the spell was done. That was healing, huh? I'm getting you sharper and into peak physical shape, healing beyond your limits, like cheating. To expand your veins and channel the blood like pure energy, the genetics need to be undamaged for some things. Don't do anything exhausting for 60 minutes. Lesson 2. Let's take what we learned about fire magic and apply it to impact magic. I have before you an eternal rock, tree infinite and dummy genius. Every time you break them, they will assemble. They are not really here in how you think about things. James had a legendary force in him like a mountain. He realized he could put through his impact fists. He felt like he could move earth and sky. With a delayed hit, James exploded through the 2-meter rock. Minds were conscious about everything and the world for a second, before an impact explosion blinding them like a secondary thing. Sound of explosive chemistry. For 15 seconds, trees were blowing, rocks flying and hair waving. It was like an asteroid had landed in Cleveland. The 3 targets assembled 4 seconds later. I see you need to meditate more. Top marks, take a manna bacon biscuit. You could break a fort with that in one punch. That was barely possible, said James, drained. I see you used up almost all your magical and regular stamina. Let's do less with magic then. Don't use any punches like that on me also. First time I have to say this, student. Have you had many students? 7. You will know which ones and whence you come across. It's a different channeling, but I can see how I can apply the fire technique to impact. I believe you, student, if you can do it 20 more times. He lied with charm. James did impact of impact and break like there was Sisyphus with an eternal rock. He took his time and focused not on what he could do, but could not.
Let's do something
Like
else.
guitarist perfecting solos intuitively. Legendary lessons, spring chaff. Obviously your mind can't keep up with it this hour, but will tomorrow. Absolution is a technique to your skin, or your body into magical, spiritual fighting spirit armor. There are many variants resistant to air, magic, and explosions. You guessed it, it's Earth for explosions.
It's delicious.
Focus your fighting spirit and will use the excess you have, quite like a spell, outside your body like you are armoring yourself. Flex your muscles throughout your body until it spreads. Give yourself a mental full set of armor into reality. An armor of consciousness, concentration, and a dimension affected by thoughts, but not everything. It will help if you dance with your muscles. Connect spiritual and physical dimension. Keep the connection like diving deep it will turn into black-red steel with practice. This is called absolute unit for melee. If you have enough chest hair, you can compete with the strongest punches and slices in the world, in theory, and only if they are about force. You'll see when you need to adapt, it is weaker to arrows and some other things. Absolute unit. Toadsburg turned into
What happens?
solid
You put
red-black
red
steel,
champagne in your
reflecting
hands.
sunlight and features rectangular. Hit me, Jim, disciple. James went for a punch thundering. Wills collided into an immolation aura burning around them thus. Their defense and power was tested. Obviously, I am fine as dandy. His mustache was
Hashtag just do
rendering
it.
juice. Wield your
Explode.
spirit. Grow it like hair hastened, length hormonal, and ambition intelligent.
But it's funny. It's really funny.
Once
Sometimes
his
I get
body
hurt
flex Toadsburg,
with these
already
things.
beyond strength. James put his hands together and flexed. Like a river, black steel flowed through almost his entire body. In a pose that looked good, through his veins first. It looked like his willpower was strong, but limiting, or he was out of fuel. That looked like you were cheating through Time Student. Above top shelf, I have to say it again. Maybe my mind is in the future, past and present at the same time, one of the secrets of mine. I can see my own future, 3 months ahead as well, he said.
Shut up, you sick kid.
How I would feel in those places, how others would react, their sensations in their body, what they ate, how I would change it, I can predict like a seer. Meat is a tough fuel for your body to burn, like alcohol. If I delve deep into how others would react in those places if I change something, I get an answer from a potential future. I can mix detective work and figure them out like this. Unsurprised to his genius mind, his future changed about every 2 seconds, like textures of a cake being mixed. Opinions being changed about present times or consciousness meeting another changing consciousness.
Then I thought this is ranged ammunition.
Here we can see
Area damage. It's
personal
true.
events change the future.
Explosive hamsters.
Tell me about your future, rich man.
They like spicy
It's
chopped
changing like a
tomatoes.
painting of colors depending on my each
And they're
new
automatically
performances
applied.
in stubborn directions. People coming and directing with stubbornness like wind. I understood that actually maybe I am like you, spring chaff. Enough talent is spiritual. I'm having a vision of greed from bankers and someone falling out of a carriage. Again, start from your chest. James flexed and slowly spread armor like truth profound, irrefutable. Again, properly, I want to bask in the reflection.
Again?
James made an armor complete. Holding onto it was now easier now, like holding onto a thought, but he definitely would have to. Think fast. Toadsburg had an axe primitive from somewhere and axed him in the shoulder. It didn't penetrate, but rubbery stuck. After a ferocious HEW, it stuck into James' other shoulder. Well into the armor, but it didn't hurt. This is how it works. Good thickness, like tar. Might as well start going for resisting hits. James held onto his thought like a bodybuilder holds onto his ego. Toadsburg took a shovel and started smashing into his stomach. He played baseball, and James had a hard time remembering his thought or focus like someone was spiritually attacking. This isn't too hard holding on to. James considered holding his position in siege. Toadsburg took a baseball bat and smashed it savagely, mass manipulating, thinking about hitting their James as it shattered. In a movie, it would have shattered in slow-mo. This was all he could flex his abs, and absolute unit disappeared now in a second. Brutal, said James like he was Nathan Explosion.
Somehow they turn into 2 hamsters per
Rest
catch.
your mind. You need to be able to hold onto your thought. Absolute unit sucks onto your stamina.
Relative, I
Magical
guess.
stamina and regular. You must train cardio. I love flexing over my opponents. James started flexing each breast muscle at a time for a dance. Left, right, left, left, right, right hit me. Okay. James almost covered his entire body over 10 seconds. Maybe it's good enough to resist a stab. Toadsburg brutally took a knife and pushed into his chest with intent. The chest resisted it and adapted like rubber. Eventually, the stabs were overpowering, and James went flying 6 meters back onto his back. I think that was decent, said James on his back. I would have gotten hurt if it didn't work. Shut up. You knew it was going to work, right? Cry me a river. Get back here. I'm not moving. Meet my favorite friend, Bone Snap. This baseball bat beats brains and smashes skull like meringue Swiss. It is magical yet convincing. The baseball bat had a wooden skull on it. James went for an Arnold flex, one arm out, one tightly fisted near your head, looking at your long arm. Toadsburg smashed his face like the songs about death and pestilence. The dust hit his face, but not his body being vaulted into the floor. I held onto the transformation. I think I broke a nail back there, said Toadsburg. James held his arms like AZ, like he held an invincible shield, a powerful stance. Toadsburg swung 9 times until he could break it. It took some effort, like James was strangely stalwart. James felt his optimal power fighting, like perfection on a sculpture thickness. Maybe others are equally strong. Break this. Toadsburg swung and swung, hitting different parts, then in a frenzy. He took some seconds to think, then smashed his foot into the ground and hit James for a home run. It only hurt for 1.5 seconds on James, statue-like. James, through the right action in time, got a spiritual lead, making him focus on even more defense power. Here it is more powerful than offense. Defense was another thing, like focusing on one principle true and profound. James was a black statue, immune mentally. Thunder Baby Ruth, baseball player. Toadsburg had hid this power from James, like a mask being unveiled menacing. He swung like lightning could crack the sky, earth and sea. After lightning stopped cracking from Toadsburg and smoke disappeared, James stood stalwart. I used a lot of my power on that one, said Toadsburg. There was no additional swing. Good. That's enough of that, you advanced 4 classes. Being more peaceful and compassionate, now I can teach you in a healing way. Injury and healing if you want to ease things. I'm all right. There is the multiplying yourself technique. It only works in the offensiveness of an attack. This is going to be as easy as figuring out your own physics theorem. Multiply with technically a summoning and illusion 20 piece. Swing this 2-handed glaive spear 6 meters into the center. They will all do. Illusion is real yet theoretical. James toiled without little progress for a long time. He had to be deceitful for illusion and wanting someone else to do the work for summoning. Relying on an arm that could not take damage and a resent to work. I'm having a vision of a bald man burping someone off a cliff. I've seen him before. Pain is the greatest teacher, James, said Toadsburg and poked James in the eye. It can teach you what is morally wrong, what you need to change in your life. Sometimes you must allow yourself to feel pain to come to insight. Pain in its simplest form is something you should avoid, maybe. Avoiding danger through evolution. Evolution is not philosophy. Life is full of pain and hardship when it comes for everyone, eventually anyway, so don't be a pussy when it comes. You can quote me on that. Be mature when it comes. Be wise. Do you want to act like a baby? Pain in your life can come from being immature, emotionally unintelligent, or changing nothing. Living on thoughtless pleasure routines and easy orders. Anyone can complain over a tall mountain or circumstances. Beat your circumstances of your life. Take it on the cheek. Take the path over the mountain. Become the strongest version of all versions. Anyway, I was talking about insight. In depression, when you cannot pretend to be the person others expect of you anymore, you need to come to an insight through the pain.
Yeah, this part is so good. I'll let you read this, meaning I'm gonna read it. Oh yeah, this one as well. Some of the... it's just this part here. Some of the extreme wheelchair sports were held on a spine of golf, which means spine of giant. Our reporter with marriage control recorded said, it is the state of the extreme wheelchair sports these days so tolerant that a wheelchair came down the mountain like a bullet and flipped him into the air. He was not accustomed to these kind of things. Stay tolerant, he said, and he's got his leg stuck in a crevice. Next to us was the bald, red-faced, fat burping contest, the only different version of ESF chain. Some had wide necks and a big mouth. The first one burped deep and vibrating. The theater look stage were on vibrating animal subset. What like a storm had passed. You shouldn't have gotten used to it. The eye of the storm, said Albert. The next one was timeless and exhausting answer that loudest. It wasn't too clear, but it actually been 10 decibel over. Attendance was brought to the last man. He was from Manchester. He was the fattest and he was the baldest. There wasn't a centimeter of hair on his head. It was as smooth earth theory when flat earth isn't flat enough. No mountains, no hill, no Mariana Trench. It's not flat enough, they say. The last bald man burped deep, then deeper, distorting sound and sight into grey and blackness. He burped himself out of existence in a blue swirl and took one of the contestants with him. The color, oh, very good. And he gave me the medals on the casket. Yeah, I can't wait for that part to start as well, or the next part, or the next thing. It's just good parts. So fun.
Anyway, I was talking about insight. In depression, when you cannot pretend to be the person others expect of you anymore, you need to come to an insight through the pain. It cures you like healing even of the most executive of organs through self-healing. You lost your job and girlfriend? The insight might be it's your fault, and you live in a world where having a job isn't secure, capitalistically. Bad example. I should have picked the example I know is good. You might be depressed because you lost an ability in your ego world obsessed with performance. Do you see how I can think performance is superficial at ground zero? Let go of the illusion of performance and exist in a state of nothing, at least sometimes. The snow goose needs not to bathe to make itself white. Neither do you need to be anything else but yourself. Exist in nothing until there is time for action, true, from the depth of your person. The insight is to live without your ability, your sword arm, or maybe it can slowly be trained back in humility. No one needs to lose an arm permanently through. Not the point, getting too practical. Realizing you're good enough without performance. One of the secrets is that humans are good enough as they are. Being good enough isn't always about performance, just like understanding it is not a lack of it. Don't you think the weak are the ones getting depressed, Toadsburg? This is a classic offensive, yet common conception. Anyway, coming to insights from pain, I can do that. anyone can become depressed, because life can be 3 horrible events 3 days in a row. Either it is not weak or everyone is weak. In philosophy, even if everyone is truly weak, for example, better not focus on it. Power is an act, understanding truth, changing your direction, and remembering truly it is like philosophy. Better be prepared. It might be worth it protecting the weak also anyway. What is there to allure the flies? The weak can be emotional marvels, pure, kind, good friends, brave yet physically weak like someone who needs a gym bro. Brave of voice, maybe cute, a purpose in something sensitive, a destiny in conquering fear and rising. This isn't theoretical enough. Go read some engineering, Grease Monkey. Life and hardship makes you stronger profoundly. Don't have a victim mentality. A new strength, a fair exchange. Once to start complaining, it can take years for things to be fair. Versed in mental health, we live in a world unfair. No one goes through life dandy and are never in pain, maybe kings. But for this, you must feel the pain and not break. Breaking can happen in theory. When faced with breaking, stop caring. Some of the hardest questions and lots of battles are fought alone. Power is understand truth, changing your direction like a mind of paths 5 meters off your brain, turning into the center. The cartographing of power. Everyone needs input, and just the right amount of contemplating, insight, twist the conception. A stupid buffoon that doesn't care never does anything important with a strength. There are so many brutes and grunts. But don't be an emotional mess. Be stable in your wisdom. Have backbone in your path. Don't wait for luck to show you a way and action tomorrow. Every prophet has been talking about loving your neighbor, people like their brothers. The key thing here is the state, the lovely, cuddly state you're in loving your neighbor. That is peace, truth, and the optimal state, close to the spirit state we are in before entering a new life. Loving is important just for this reason, what it allows. It's not easy to stay in this cute state all the time, but the start is being conscious about it. Why are there dragons and magic in Britain now? It's because of an accuracy and position of the planets. When everything is lined up, there is magic, simply put. A presence like your mind being bloomed into real thought in contemporary timelines. There is a length to the gate, just there is eerie and ghost. Creatures can cross over planes every 300 years with magic like knowledge. It is chaos and physics beyond understanding. Intuition of God, we have guessed at which. If you looked at it, and I explained, you would not understand. You must understand exceptions and matter going through like jumping over. It doesn't make sense if you try to think of it as logic. There is a story of creation at an atomic level. Pressure, electric charges, gravity, dissonance, and obedience. Atoms influenced by fate and feelings. It all started reactive. The entropy is stable. There is some anti-entropy. You would anti-entropy to be the same as entropy, but it does not act the same. And there's a third and fourth thing if the calculations are correct. Some of it is science. When there is a mix, that's when you have to stay sharp, but still scientific perspective. Or it is the entropy that transforms into the magical energy. This is a real thing, James, not just something in a story. Planets have accuracy, like a spear through planes, spiritual. The destruction of everything is also possible thus. There are creatures who want to cross planes like ragged travelers, hungry beings too coarse for more domination, and wizards who want to share their magic. Here's an eternal question. What do you do for protein here? James said like a bodybuilder ever concerned and surprised by food and steaks. Observe spring chaff. Toadsburg summon flames into yellow spheres, rays of light bending and summon something through conjuration slowly. There seemed to be a swirling elemental, but instead of air cyclones, there was cheese. Look, it's armed with a cheese knife. What do you command me, master? A deep Arnold Schwarzenegger voice said. ARRGOHNO, please. Toadsburg removed the heart, and the elemental fell into a pile of cheese. Cheese elemental, said Toadsburg cheekily. Cheese is 33% protein. I could not summon a steak elemental if I only read the book through. I work on summoning magic as a hobby. Reasonably, James said, No worse cholesterol than meat, might as well. Capitalists should figure out low cholesterol cheese. Parmesan is up to 80% protein, though. I have not tasted this Italian, right? Must taste like crap if it's just protein. No, it's just a food cheese, like Grano Padano. Take its heart, it's Dutch tomato cheese with black olives. Take this. James recognized a piece as a gourmand. This is how Grano Padano tastes like. This is easy to like, punchy, fat, and deep, not farty. Delicious. Fartiness goes down with quality or hidden. Do you have bread in this abode? I have a recent stock of baguettes, rye, and French wheat. No butter. James saluted him in baguette eternal, which is hitting yourself in the face, then sneezing into your hand. I want some more Grano Padano. They stocked up on protein like Brie de Meaux, Comte, Brie Bluchon, and Blue d'Auvergne without speaking. Now back to meditating. Everything must be meditated upon, even meditating. There's a reason people do this religiously for years. I can see through time what they would come to insight. To do nothing with intent is doing something, like nothing in between things. The next morning, after meditating for an hour next to each other pointlessly, Toadsburg gave his student another one-on-one lesson, like the ancient Greek. James had thought of many brilliant things, taking his brain in far directions despite short on time. It was annoying not being able to say them, true things about the past and present, as an artsy idea person. There is a slap above all others. The oven slap. It's called hunger, ravenous hunger, being able to steal your enemy's health, mana, and stamina. Tell your opponent you are out of mana and weak, then slap them. I'm turning into a human mosquito. If you vanquish enough enemies, it can extend your life. Like a youth potion. Better to just skip the butter, I think, just in case. This is blood magic, Chamular. Toadsburg said, unquenchable hunger and slapped James like a bear. A bear would not be unimpressed and disappointed. That's how it feels like. We will practice on each other mostly. It is better. I'll go easy on you. Let's just go even at the end. Blood was somehow being punched through and flying back to Toadsburg in 50 small spheres. James said unquenchable hunger without instruction and slapped like a top student. Like a true 1%er in strength, the third strike gathers power bottomless. You need to channel your hunger, be a predator, rub your behind against a tree. Inside each of us, there is a bear wanting to party. I understand your philosophy. Brutal animals started stopping and watching, saw the Olympic slapping contest like on TV. The following attacks were slaptastic. More power, James be primal. Toadberg. You need practice, Salmon. Do you have the patience of a lifetime? It might be needed. Eventually, Toadsburg wanted them to repeat yesterday. Now behold the cheese knife. Toadsburg karate chopped an impressionable rock into two without a knife. High damage, low accuracy. Look, I can turn my whole arm into a blade. Indeed, his arm extended into a razor, steel-looking bereft, and 0.5 meter longer over his fist. I'll exercise this, but I prefer my weapons. What do you have with you anyway, soldier? Toadsburg said, interested and in a people in terse mood. Warhammers, throwing axes, halberd. I bought a new halberd with a wider axe that was like an S, expensive, deadly, and beautiful. An S cuts better than a straight edge, because it is arced. Does the job, gold mithril alloy, spear-tipped both ways. They practiced until the sun came down in the autumn mulch of mind, darkness, and leaves. At the end, James could indeed split rock and stone, punched like practiced in discipline and expertise. He sharpened his mind and body, and went into mentalities of old warriors, tranquility, and in the present like a physics experiment. He didn't know where the power came from. It was force and resilience, but he hit harder each time. He grew tired and getting stronger and had to think less, or in less situations. It was all going to be worth it. Are you familiar with using your voice as a weapon? Indeed. I can teach you Serbi Arzad chilling and freezing your target with frost breath. I am so ancient and knowledgeable for this. You didn't even know this existed? This is something I'm interested in. Actually, this is easier if I just place this divine frost orb into your stomach, in the 5th dimension which holds the soul. Also angel wings and devil horns. You need to find the coldest...
I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go to sleep soon. Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Come back some other time, huh?